Nerds International proudly presents
Hello and welcome to the 3T RPG podcast. My name is Harrison Hunt and with me is Nick Lamley.
Welcome to Hello.
This is a podcast all about tabletop RPGs, and we're actually record holders at the moment because we're the only podcast in the world to not be sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh my god, don't even get me started.
What is going on with that at the moment?
And what is the deal with, like, not only do they like throw fucking adverts at you between every single part of a YouTube video now, but now they do their own ones when they're like, wait a minute, do you know what I like? I like Raid Shadow Legends, and they actually start doing an internal fucking ad as well.
Yeah, so you get the advert during and all of them throughout. It is fucking annoying.
It is so annoying.
And what's the deal with airline food?
yeah, that's a good question.
I just thought, actually, I think this is the thing that a lot of people have said. So, but yeah, that's like the old joke, isn't it? What's the deal with airline food?
I've always liked it.
So do I.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun. Comes in little packets.
Hot take.
I feel like I have to use every single part, though. You know what I mean? It's like, must use a little bit of salt, must use a little
It's
bit
gotten
of
better, especially if you order the vegetarian. I can't believe we're talking about this, but or the vegan option or the kosher.
It's better, way better.
Way better.
Well, because if you order the normal one, you know what you're getting. You're getting chicken, bloody. What is it? They always give you fucking chicken with tomato and mozzarella on top.
Well,
every
I was
time.
on a plane with James Clark once, who's part of this show, and I have a theory now developing that James doesn't have any sense of taste. The reason being is because he ate the pasta and meatballs, right, which was fine.
Yeah.
But then he says to me, he was like, yeah, the airline food wasn't that bad. It was like at first you eat a little bit and it doesn't taste very good, and then when you eat it all, it tastes really nice. And I went, do you mean you got full? And he went, yeah. And I think he
when
thinks
it's in your belly, it tastes good.
yeah, I think he thinks that's the same thing.
Bless him.
I don't know, man.
Bless
I don't think he can taste that sort of. I've got that theory.
That's we'll put that to the test next week at the game table. Shall I so I spike some crisps so it really gross and see if he notices?
Yeah, because that's a good idea. Just give him a
one
pork
chili powder. Or
yeah,
something.
give him like a pork one and just be like, well, yeah, taste this cheese and onion crisp.
Yeah,
and
James, don't listen to this before next week.
I don't think he does listen to this anyway, so we're fine. But on today's show, we've got the feedback side, we've got what you're saying, we've got the main subject, which is going to be the time Steve Jackson got raided by the Secret Service.
Oh, yeah.
I've tried to come up with a quicker title, but I couldn't.
Snappy.
And then we got Brain in the Oven,
Yes.
followed by Electro Letters, followed by our award-winning outro. It's going to be a good show.
It's going to be a bloody good show.
But before we do, I just want to mention that I'm now on Twitter, so follow me at Harrison the Huge. I've just gone into it and I've only got 10 followers. I need more.
It's a cesspit, mate. You're not going to... I hate Twitter.
I like it so far.
Of course you do.
Well, my mum follows me on Facebook, so I can't really be quite as stupid as I really am. And on Twitter, it's like...
So is this your medium now?
Yeah, it's
where you can a bit
be
of therapy,
myself.
bit of therapy. Yeah. Fair enough.
Message Sean Patrick Fannin last night.
Stop it, you troll.
All right, let's go on with some feedback.
Yeah.
The feedback side. The feedback side. Yes, bitch, the feedback side. It's the feedback section.
Yeah, we take your comments and read them out. Yeah, feedback, bitch.
First feedback comes in from Richard Woolcock. He's speaking about me thinking that romance was an odd genre to include in the Cypher system.
Yeah. Oh, God, I need to talk about that as well after we get going.
He says, you didn't like the romance game's idea though. Actually, I thought it was a good idea to include, even if nobody wants to play it. It's a good example of the flexibility of the system. By contrast, Savage Worlds has so many rules for combat that I'd consider it a poor choice for running a non-combat campaign.
Yeah,
Possible to do, sure, but you'd only use a small part of the rules.
He's got a point there, yeah.
That is a very good point.
That's a very good point.
So would you play a romance game?
I think we have to, because some people have been demanding it.
Well, actually, have they?
Yeah, me.
Oh dear.
I said, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, that's just going to be horrible.
We do a romance.
Even in our home games, which...
Yeah, but it can be a bromance story, though. Doesn't need
What,
to be
it's just
love, just friends hanging out.
Just well, legit, like I was going to say fisting each other. I meant bumping fists.
Oh my god.
Bumping fists, chugging beers together.
Yeah.
Okay,
Shooting a breeze.
sounds great.
Yes.
Terry Hansen says, "Damn you both and your review. I had given up on the Cypher system. I have always wanted to play The Strange. It's such an awesome dimension-hopping concept. I had to dig out my copy of the game."
Sorry.
Terry also did a form of feedback we've never seen before. And this is the last time we're mentioning Bobby Evans. But, Bobby Evans, obviously, he won the shittest Kickstarter stretch goal award for puppets for Savage Worlds demonstrations. And Terry Hansen got some puppets and did a little puppet show along to our podcast.
where hilarious.
You and I were puppets.
I was like a sock snake. It was quite cool.
Weirdest feedback we've ever received, probably.
Yes, hands down. And I'm not surprised it's from Terry.
Owen Lean says, feedback regarding food, because we spoke about our sort of table food last game.
Yep.
He says, cook a buffet or buy a bunch of bits, have them on a separate table, then people can go and grab throughout.
Well, just walk away from the table mid-game.
Yeah,
Excuse me, I need the buffet.
I guess if it's in the same room, I guess that's okay.
Is it?
But I don't know.
I was DMing, right, and I was like, right, so you walk into this room and you can smell it. And then you just, sorry, and he's like, and someone's over at the buffet munching. I'm still listening. I'm just grabbing a chicken wing. Yeah, so I don't know if I agree, but it would be nice for saving space on the table. The amount of times, every time I put a map down, we have to move a bunch of crisps out of the way. But that's because we just bring so much
fat.
snacks. But if I walked in and there was a spread on, then fair play to the host.
Next one comes in from Scott A. Woodard. I can't remember, but he's a nice lad. Anyway, point is that we recently had RPG Pundit on to talk about the Mercer effect, and during which we spoke about. We thought that Matt Mercer should be upfront about the fact it's an entertainment product and not really how normal D&D games go.
Does he not? Well, he's not prefaced the show with...
No, he basically says, look, you've got to understand that your games aren't going to be as great as ours because you're not quite as... Most DMs
so
aren't
who the fuck do you lot think you are? You may merely view our greatness, but never think that you can recreate it.
Yeah, that's exactly how he speaks. So, Scott comes in and he says, I've had people say that I'm a great GM because I do all the voices. Yes, I'm an experienced voice actor, but I hope it's not just my silly characters that make me a decent GM. And I definitely agree that Mercer and his like need to emphasise that what they're doing is not typical gaming. It's a produced show, and no one should believe they can run their kitchen table games like that. Enjoyable conversation, even if I'm a proud SJW who strongly disagrees with RPG Pundit about a lot of what he says thinks.
Okay.
Which is fair. I think a lot of people reacted very maturely to us having him on, because I think the trouble is that with the RPG Pundit, a lot of people believe the rumours rather than what he's actually like, and I'm glad that people listened to it and kept an open mind.
So his reputation did not precede him.
Yeah,
you spoke to him.
He was really nice. He was a lovely bloke.
Yeah, I'm going to listen. I'm going to digest that pod later on. But we love Scott Woodward as well, obviously.
Yeah, we love them all.
Yeah.
Don't fight. We don't like it when Mummy and Daddy fight.
We love you guys. We always have.
That's all the feedbacks for this time. Some pretty good ones. Never bring up Bobby Evans again.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm talking to the listeners, not you. You rarely bring him up.
I don't bring him up that much.
Okay, let's get on to what we've been playing.
Yay.
And it's one of these! Oi, yeah? What you slaying?
We've been continuing our D&D campaign.
Oh, mate.
So our D&D campaign is all about them owning a disused monster zoo and populating it with monsters in D&D, which has been fun, really fun. And yeah, the very last mission they did before the year was over, they had to basically prove themselves that they could run the zoo well. And it's been a year, and they've now been given full ownership of the zoo, which is fun. But before that, I did a mission based on Jack and the Beanstalk. But obviously, in D&D, giants are really, really powerful. And they went up there, had to rescue this guy called Jackie, who was supposed to deliver cocaine to a clock shop in Baldur's Gate. No, in Neverwinter, but failed, traded the cocaine for magic beans, and then planted it and went up a beanstalk and was trying to nick the giant's treasure to bring back to his boss.
To kind of look over the accidente with the selling of
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, these guys went into the house, tried to find all of the magic items, but found the golden egg-laying hen. Then got so fucked up by the dragon in the first few hits. Yeah. They jumped out of the window and descended back to Faerun. But the trouble, well, you guys had parachutes, so it's fine.
We had parachutes,
but we did some mid-air combat. Yeah, that was fun. So how I did it is I just drew on my battle map 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 being the highest one, 4 being the lowest.
In squares.
Yeah, and they could use their movement to go up and down a level of height.
That's it.
So,
It distinguished height. So yeah. So when we were like becoming more streamlined and trying to get down quickly, so we dropped down to like the 3rd level, and then the dragon brought the bloody giant down, holding him, and then he'd come down to the level before, and then he could jump down. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
it's
so
a really nice way of handling it, considering that. It's quite difficult to draw a battle map that depicts just air.
Yeah, well, that was it. Yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah, it would have been cool if I had like a physical representation of it, but I thought it worked well. And the giant had a pet dragon, ice dragon, because I thought because it's so up high that everything's cold, so it was a frost giant and an ice dragon. But yeah, so the dragon was holding the giant by the shoulders and taking him up and down levels, and then all of these guys, Jackie, the guy that they were sent to go and rescue, didn't have a parachute, and he was flying through the air screaming his ass off. And throughout the whole fight, about 3 of the guys that were in the fight, they were just consistently trying to get the spare parachute out of somebody's bag, and I was like, okay, give me a whatever check it was, and try and get the parachute out, and it was always like 3, 1, 2.
Oh mate, we had
5.
bad rolls last week.
It was terrible, and then Nick's character died in an instant.
Yeah.
So in D&D, if you go minus half of your max HP, you die instantly.
Yeah.
Nick your character Dave Dishington took 1 hit from the giant and boff. Crit.
Dead in the air.
It was awful.
They've been killed in mid-air before.
Well, that's the first at least.
Yeah, it's the first. It was great. But you know what? I'm really pleased with the character that I've picked up, so it's all good.
Yeah, so Nick had this apprentice that during downtime he would train him up, but always forgot about him.
Left him for months on end.
So he ended up trying to read books about becoming a ranger
For
himself.
dummies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like becoming a ranger for dummies.
Yeah.
And he's like using food from the zoo as target practice, like kicking it and shit.
Exactly.
So now you're playing, Willie, the little apprentice
kid.
ranger.
Oh,
yeah.
little boy.
So the very next thing is that this zoo has become so popular, and the town that they run has become so big that it's now a duchy. So that means they have
Fortified duchy, no less.
Exactly, yeah. And so that means they have to pay some of the town's profits to the king, and as a result, the Dee Dee, one of the characters, has to be sworn in as a duchess.
And we brokered some deals, didn't we?
Yeah, it was pretty cool, really, really cool. And they essentially went to the spring ball of the king, and they negotiated, what percentage they would be given to the king, this, that, and the other.
We struck up a trade deal.
Struck up a trade deal. Yeah, they Neverwinter trades in fabric, and these guys have food and beer, so they're now trading both. Like, it's good beer. It's not just any
decent beer. Yeah.
Yeah, which was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Because your character had a pretty good send-off when he died.
Oh, mate.
They were like, fuck, we need to get his beer recipe, because he's a folk hero because of his beer.
Yeah.
And they were like, we need to get his recipe. So they quickly called on one of the local wizards that works in the town to do Speak with the Dead.
Yeah.
And then they spoke to his ghost and got the beer recipe.
Got the beer recipe, yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking
really
funny.
Cool, man.
But yeah, when the whole thing with the king's thing, I just wanted them to have a nice, relaxed session of just attending.
Nice party.
Yeah,
it
a
was
party,
really good fun.
and having this like having to sort of fit in socially. It was a lot of social shit.
It was really, really bloody fun. It blew James's head off because he was like, I can't believe we're doing something so like normal, but it's all rolls and stuff. And it's like, yeah, man, that's what RPGs are about. You don't have to be
you're always fighting.
Time.
Yeah. One of the so for example, during the first phase at the dinner, they sort of like one of the things was Dee Dee, she's being looked at, her mannerisms are being sort of analysed because she's about to become one of the council.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you see an absolute field of cutlery in front of you, and you don't know what's the right one to pick for the first course. And then so she had to roll like, I don't know, I can't remember what it was. It was like history or something.
Yeah, history
or intelligence. But yeah, then rolled, picked up the right
she
one.
nailed it. Yeah.
Your character Willie, he had to pass the salt, but there was loads of drinks and vases and foods in the way.
And he was a little orphan, and he kind of grew up on the street, so he's got no kind of social etiquette whatsoever. So he had a bit of a nightmare.
And of course, like he failed his agility roll or dexterity roll, and just as he was weaving his hand through all of this shit trying to pass the salt, knocked loads of shit over.
Yeah.
And this vase went crashing over, nearly spilled on Dee Dee's lap, and she rolled a dex save to get out of the way. It was fucking awesome.
It was awesome.
But one of the best parts was there was because posh people, they play party games.
Absolutely.
And often really weird ones. Like if you ever you've seen like party games that posh people play at like Christmas and that, and it's like, put the balloon between your legs and run to the other side of the room.
But you must be reciting Shakespeare at the time.
Yeah, it's really weird. So it's games like that. They had a hot dog eating competition whilst balanced on the back of a servant.
Of a servant, yep.
Serving tray tobogganing.
Yep.
And blind baguette jousting.
They sound so off the hook. Can you imagine if someone had actually put them in a book somewhere?
Such as 78 Hamlet Happenings, which is obviously our product. Yeah, so I used those events from that. And yeah, it was really, really funny. And Nick Willie, his character, won more events than,
than anyone else. And the jousting. He done really well. Oh, no, he got knocked out to the king in the jousting. It was the hot dog eating that he...
Yeah, and
he got
the
pissed
tobogganing.
on the wine.
Oh, yeah, so he's drunk the whole time, this little kid. He's like either 9 or 11
no one
or
knows.
12. Like, nobody knows. Because he's like, I think it's my birthday, but I don't know. Yeah, and so he won this pair of boots. No, it was a belt. A belt, yeah.
Yeah, it was a belt of... oh, blimey, what did it do?
It was like a belt of speed or something like this, but it gives you extra pace in combat and 1 free dex save per day.
That's
so that was fun. But right at the end...
Was fun.
Yeah, was fun, exactly. Right at the end of the party, if you guys know that scene from Batman The Dark Knight when Joker comes into the party, crashes the party and takes the woman hostage... That basically happened, but it was with this really demonic jester who said that he was diseased and he spat his disease into the wine.
His teeth were missing and he had all blood. You know, when he was describing that, all I could think of was, do you remember that guy that did that Party Hard song and he always had blood, like a nosebleed?
Oh, Andrew WK.
Yeah, that's all I could picture when you were saying that.
Yeah, this guy had like blood coming out of his mouth. He was obviously like really diseased. His teeth were falling out.
Yeah.
And he took so Stanley and Dee Dee, 2 characters in the campaign, he took them both hostage, like with a knife to their throat and stuff like this. They managed to save 1 kid, but the guy escaped with the other. He jumped off the building, and as he hit the floor, he was like should have been dead.
Yeah, snapped.
He was cracked and snapped in all places. Then his bones sort of cracked round and refigured into a spider formation, and he crawled out the city with a kid dangling from his mouth.
Yeah, he had like a giant extendo mouth. It was grim.
But obviously, all the people had drunk the wine and got the disease that this guy was trying to spread. So he says you've got 5 days before you're going to die, or when you first go to sleep. Yeah, if you go to sleep, you're dead, and that's going to be a big thing. But fortunately, Nick's character, thinking that they were smarties, had just bought a bunch of ecstasy of somebody.
Ecstasy tablets.
So that'll help, I think.
That should help us out.
It was weird because I knew obviously that the disease thing was coming, and I was like, he's buying these now, and I'm like, that's weird. It's almost as if you knew.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
No idea, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know what you might need.
People will always find. That's why people keep weird shit.
Sean, he's the master of keeping weird stuff. Actually, James is pretty good. James T as well. He had a bit of grease on him, didn't he?
Well, I remember because I'm so used to playing with you guys. One of the first times I was a player in recent years, I played Trail of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
And I looked in the fridge and I was like, there are any frozen sausages? And I got one because I'm like, you never know when that might come in handy. I don't know what I was going to use it for, but I was going to find
You'd rather take it than not.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the D&D campaign. That's where we're at the moment. So we're sort of starting the next story arc in it with this disease plot line.
Town's in lockdown. The king's like, no, we can't let this disease spread, so we're not allowed to leave the confines of the town. And we've got basically 5 days, lest we fall asleep, to A, save Dee Dee's son, and B, save the town.
Yeah, and try and find a cure.
Find a cure, yeah.
Should be fun, hopefully. I'm going to try and do each session as a day.
Wicked.
So I think that might be fun.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That lowers your attack points because you're scared!
I wanted to talk about Aces and Bloody Eights.
Oh, mate.
I've gotten well into this. So I just bought Aces and Eights, which is
huge.
A really old role-playing game by Kenzer and Company. They're the people that did Hackmaster. And not only is it very difficult to find, it's usually about £100 for the book.
Wow.
Some bloke on Facebook sold it for £20. Nick's just showed me a piece of artwork. Well, one of the cool things about this is it's all actual photos and artwork
photographs,
from the time.
Wow.
It's a beautiful, beautiful full colour book throughout.
Nick as well.
And I think I got every single printed material for it ever made for £20. That's insane. It was like one of the deal with a lifetime
It's
moments.
that really nice glossy paper that's keeps as well.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good shit.
Really
so
cool.
Aces and Eights essentially is a somewhat historically accurate sort of cowboy western game, right? And the thing is, it's like a sort of the reason it's called the Shattered Frontier is because after the Civil War, all 5 America split into 5 different factions. So you've got Texas as its own country, the USA as its own country, other places that I can't remember. But the good thing about this is it's kind of a simulationist type game.
Yeah.
It means combat is slow, but it's really fun because action is broken down into the 10th of a second. And what you do is, you roll your initiative, and when you get your turn, you announce, what you're doing, and it'll be like, so turning, you use hexes, and turning to the right, that will be one count, which is a tenth of a second, and that means things can go off at the same time. Things take a different amount of counts. So a good example is the Colt Single Action Army, which is like the best revolver ever made. If you pull that out, but you've got one with the short barrel, you can draw it quicker, but it's less accurate. But if you've got the really long barrel, right, it'll take longer to draw, but you be more accurate when shooting. So it's a good risk reward type thing.
Even all the bullets.
So all of the pictures of the guns are real pictures from the time as well.
Really cool.
It's really cool. And the shooting is awesome because it uses something called a shot clock. And what you do is you actually take a silhouette. It comes with a bunch of silhouettes.
Never seen anything like it before.
Yeah, and it'll be like a cowboy standing there with his gun, and like a little shooting gallery. You aim the shot clock over it, then you roll a dice, pull a card, and it tells you where you hit.
It's like a see-through. Do you remember like the overhead projectors at school when you used to have like a see-through kind of sheet, and it sits on top, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and it's quite clever because if there's cover, all you do is place a cover object on the image.
Or a window. You actually get a small window that you can place over the silhouette of the guy you're shooting at, and then the shot clock goes over the top. It's cracking.
It's really clever.
Yeah.
It does mean combat takes a little while, but the thing is, what you got to remember is that getting shot once in this could prove deadly, because what could happen? You get shot in the arm, you get an infection, you die. So it's a game where combat doesn't happen that often, or at least it's a last resort.
Yeah.
And a couple of the cool things that came with it that I really like. There's one there. See the one with the black stripes on it? That is called Rustlers and Townsfolk, and it's for one of the locations in the game. And it is literally just a whole book full of NPCs.
No way! I've never seen so many NPCs in my life.
It's printed like a book, like it's got a book binding.
Yeah.
But it's just a bunch of sheets of NPCs.
That is incredible.
So if you ever need to populate somewhere, you just pull one of those out.
These guys, Kenzo, is it?
Kenza.
Kind of remind me, like, they've got a kind of a DCC feel. You know, when they cover you for everything.
Yeah.
If you need it, they've got it. They've made it. This is really
It's very clever as well, because the shot clock thing actually...
Did this guy just leave this in his loft forever? It's in immaculate condition.
Must have done, yeah.
Go on, sorry.
Well, the shot clock thing, it kind of means that you avoid piracy as well, because you can't...
Oh, yeah.
You
No one
can't
can
really-
make that, yeah. That's true.
And I've got the NPCs. There's a couple of adventures there. I got a book with
anything.
Yeah, exactly. But I got an extra book in there called The Shootist's Guide as well, which includes rules for big game hunting and new silhouettes. Yeah, great stuff. Really
you
great.
get loads of silhouettes. Where do the silhouettes live?
In the Shootist's Guide.
Oh, right, and then you just photocopy them out, yeah?
Yeah, or you just use the ones that came with it. So.
Oh, look. Oh, that's another open one as well. Wow.
Yeah.
More NPCs.
It's clever, man. Train maps. I couldn't believe my luck when I got this bundle, man.
For all that.
It's insane.
What he had, did he?
No, definitely not. Yeah, that's the Shooter's Guide.
This is the shot clock. Oh, you get two, mate.
So that one's the big game one. So that's if you want to shoot a bull or whatever. And then the other one's the shot clock. And then there's another one for shotguns as well.
Oh, yeah, 'cause it's very simple, isn't it? So you roll a dice, then you draw a card, and then that determines what quadrant of the shot clock
a 25
you are in.
is always a bullseye. So
Right. 25
with bonuses. So to give an example, you can advance on somebody, and some revolvers, if you're 5 feet away, that'll give you a +8.
Right,
So realistically, you need to hit a much smaller number on your D20.
Got ya.
But then there's certain other modifiers and things like this. But yeah, it's
many silhouettes. Someone
They're cool,
being
aren't
held
they?
hostage.
yeah. So
They're double-sided as well.
So you might, the one with the hostage, it's got a side-on view and a front-on view, and like you could try to aim for the guy's head, but if you miss, that's it. You might shoot the wrong person.
Guy laying prone.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I need to play this game.
It's definitely going to be the one I use in my next campaign, almost certainly.
It's
But yeah,
so
I love
cool.
it. I really love it.
I love it. It looks fantastic.
It really does, and I would also recommend to check out the guy that wrote it, Jolly Blackburn, which is a great name. He has a YouTube channel, and I would highly recommend checking it out, and the website for this game, because they're proper 90s.
Is it still support? Is it still going?
Not really. There's a
still on?
reloaded version, but all of Jolly Blackburn's YouTube, it's like a guy that's just discovered Windows Media maker, you know, and
Bless him.
it's fantastic.
Oh, was that the video I watched?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's cracking. It's really good though.
He uses all the transition effects, the classics
Yeah,
from the 90s.
Oh yeah.
I think that's enough about Aces and Eights.
I'll tell you what, we'll do a full episode on it. 'Cause
I
it is-
absolutely have to.
It looks fantastic.
It's a great game. I've been reading it recently and I love it. But yeah, if anyone can get their hands on an original copy
Do it.
of the classic Shattered Frontier version, get it, because it's awesome. All right, let's go on to the main subject.
Oh yeah.
Main. Subject. Magic. Main. Subject. Tokyo. Main. Subject.
What happens when you make a game so thoroughly researched and so close to the truth that the Secret Service raids your home thinking you're up to no good? Well, today we're talking about that very book, GURPS Cyberpunk by Steve Jackson Games. Was this book really dangerous to national security? Today we intend to find out. You excited, Nick?
I am excited.
I'm excited as well. This is this story is a bit weird and takes a few turns. It's got a few couple of things to keep track of, so just bear that in mind.
Right.
The year is 1990. Steve Jackson's GURPS game is reaching peak popularity. Will Smith is becoming a thing, and the internet, along with computers, are entering more and more homes. The internet back then, though, wasn't the one we know today. It was a scary place full of hackers, dirty pictures, and viruses. Or so many people thought.
Yeah.
And Steve Jackson receives a proposal from a man called Lloyd Blankenship to write a cyberpunk setting book for Steve's GURPS game. But why should this nobody be writing RPG books? Well, Blankenship wasn't just anyone. He was an expert in software engineering and a hacker who belonged to the hacker collective, the Legion of Doom.
Not the wrestling tag team.
No. He might have been both, I don't know.
Maybe he was that guy as well.
I like wrestling and hacking, those are my things.
You're pretty cool.
And his online handle was The Mentor.
Oh dear.
In the 80s, The Mentor was arrested for hacking crimes, the details of which are difficult to find. But after he was arrested, he wrote a famous essay called The Conscience of a Hacker, now known as the Hacker Manifesto. Ooh. In this short essay, Lloyd talks about why he became a hacker, why he does what he does, and how hacking gave him a sense of belonging, and ends with a rather brilliant paragraph, which I'll read now.
Yeah.
This is our world now. The world of the electron and the switch. The beauty of the board. We make use of a service already existing without paying for what could be dirt cheap if it wasn't run by profiteering gluttons, and you call us criminals. We explore, and you call us criminals. We seek after knowledge, and you call us criminals. We exist without skin colour, without nationality, without religious bias, and you call us criminals. You build atomic bombs, you wage wars, you murder, you cheat and lie to us, and make us believe it's for our own good. Yet we're the criminals. Yes, I am a criminal. My crime is that of curiosity. My crime is that of judging people by what they say and think, not what they look like. My crime is that of outsmarting you, something you will never forgive me for. I am a hacker. This is my manifesto. You may stop this individual, but you can't stop us all. After all, we're all alike.
That's a rousing speech.
It really is.
Independence Day speech. We will not go quietly into the night.
Yeah, it's really good. It's quite angsty though. I think he might have been young when he
Bless
wrote
him.
it.
Yeah, bless him.
It's pretty cool
He
though.
had metal on in the background while he was writing.
Almost certainly. This essay though was printed in an online magazine, Frack.
What the fuck?
And was quoted in the movie Hackers, and was shown on a poster in a film called The Social Network.
Yeah.
About Mark Zuckerberg.
That's right, Phil.
And it was this heartfelt essay that led Blankenship to becoming a kind of early internet folk hero of sorts. Now, fast forward to 1989, Valentine's Day. Blankenship is sadly fired from his job as a software engineer. Now, he's been playing GURPS for a few years and is a huge fan of the system, so he writes Steve Jackson a proposal for a cyberpunk toolkit setting book. Speaking of this pitch, Blankenship, when interviewed, had this to say: I wrote up a nice proposal explaining to Steve what a great opportunity this was for him and the company. And Steve, being a very wise man, saw that this was true. Some 4 weeks later, I was in.
This is true.
Say what you like about Blankenship, but he does think that he's pretty great.
He does, doesn't he?
Maybe he is great. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
And so Blankenship joined the company as managing editor. Now, as a quick side note, bear in mind that lots of tech was used in producing the RPGs and board games at the time, one of which was called Illuminati, and Steve Jackson chose to name his BBS after this game. And in charge of the BBS was Blankenship and another guy from the Legion of Doom called Chris Goggins. Now, BBSs, for those that don't know, it means bulletin board system. They were sort of early messaging systems where users could also share files. As such, they were often used for illicit activities like trading illegal pornography or selling drugs. Of course, there were many people using them innocently, but think about this. One of the world's most famous hackers joins a company with a fuckload of computers and a BBS called Illuminati. And when logging into that BBS, you would be greeted with this message. Greetings, mortal. You have entered the secret computer system of the Illuminati, the online home of the world's oldest and largest secret conspiracy. So he's not making his life easy.
No, he's not, is he?
It just sounds so dodgy.
Yeah, it does.
And it made a joke that this was a shadow organisation fronted by Steve Jackson's games.
For fuck's sake.
If you weren't technologically minded, this could seem like a dodgy operation.
Yeah.
Because we know that's just stupid internet humour. But bear in mind, that wasn't so widespread at the time.
Greetings, mortal. Everyone took the internet for fact back then.
Yeah, I mean,
new.
look at the movie Tron.
Oh my god.
That's what people thought the inside of computers were like, you know? It's just...
Yeah, so true.
Now, as the Secret Service gained access to the BBS and started inspecting GURPS Cyberpunk and the Illuminati message board, they had trouble figuring out what was real and what wasn't. Of course, the Illuminati board, I think it was a game as well, and a lot of it was game-related or part of the game, but they didn't know what was real, so people were like, I'm hacking into the mainframe or some shit, but it was just part of the game, right? So one day, Steve Jackson is chilling in the office when, bam, the Secret Service come knocking. And they're here to serve Steve with a warrant to raid his premises. And the reason for this is because they believe his company is making a manual for computer crime. Something one of the Secret Service agents actually said at the time.
It's a manual for computer crime, boss.
We gotta get that out of here. You know what they could do with this? Planes will be falling from the sky.
Traffic lights will be red all the time.
Yeah, so that's what they thought their cyberpunk thing was.
Oh, mate,
they thought,
brilliant.
it was an actual manual. Although later, probably after feeling quite stupid, they did say that Steve Jackson games nor the GURPS books were the target of the raids, right? Blankenship's house was also raided, and he remembers waking up at gunpoint as Secret Service confiscated all of his electronic devices.
Probably like what back in the 90s, what were we talking, a fax machine?
Fax machine, a toaster, a microwave. Take that toaster. He might have hacked
the
it.
system. Get that Sega Master System out of here.
That toaster might be picking up a gun any minute. Anyway, although they later stated that the book was not targeted during the raids, the Secret Service seized a current draft of the game, 2 computers, and according to Steve Jackson, thousands of dollars worth of other equipment. So what was the real target of the raid? Well, the submission for the raid claims that Blankenship and Chris Goggins, the other guy running the Illuminati board, were in possession of a stolen text file worth $79,000.
Piss off. Well, fucking floppy disk of text worth that much.
Yeah, well...
What was it? Well,
you'll see.
Okay.
I mean, and bear in mind, it's definitely not worth $79,000. So remember earlier we spoke about Frack, the online magazine. Well, in issue 24, they included a document detailing the internal workings of the 911 emergency service, right? So this particular document was hosted on a BBS called the Phoenix Project, which was also run by Goggins and Blankenship. So this case took bloody forever to resolve, and it was months and months before Steve Jackson got the original manuscript back, and the company was in debt already and in dire need of getting a product out.
And their bloody stuff back.
Well, exactly. And so they quickly pieced the game back together using earlier drafts and got it out onto shelves, but what about that $79,000 text document? Well, the government claimed it could be used to goof around with the 911 system, and of course, judging by this whole mess, you already know they have no idea what they're talking about. This document was a tiny, few paragraphs long at best text document, and it was less an overview of the 911 system and more a lazy glance in the direction of it.
Yeah, I think it has some buttons.
That it was honestly like that. So you look at the fucking document, and it's like the 911 emergency system calls are routed in this manner, and or like if you call for emergency services, you must say which emergency
And then you will be
service.
directed to a department.
It's literally like that.
No shit.
It was nothing, right? But additionally, the copying of the document was being equated to theft, right? But it really wasn't. It was a type of crime that was relatively new and one courts and the government struggled to preside over. For example, that $79,000 figure came about because the 911 emergency service cost that much to set up.
So they could break it all.
But they haven't done $79,000 worth of damage. They haven't even stolen something worth that amount of money. All they did was steal a text document.
And because that system cost that much to
That's
make,
how they came up with the figure.
that's got to be
That's how much it's worth, which is obvious bollocks, right?
Oh my god.
And it's difficult to find any information about what became of this little notepad file and Blankenship's involvement in nicking it, but many sites claim that the Secret Service basically realised the document was basically nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the end, Steve Jackson ended up suing the Secret Service for loss of revenue
Right.
while the computers and manuscripts were in custody, and Steve Jackson Games was awarded $50,000 in statutory damages along with $250,000 in attorney fees.
Wow, 300,000 total. Nice.
Additionally, the judge reprimanded the Secret Service, calling their warrant preparation sloppy, and said they needed better education regarding relevant statutes.
You ain't kidding. Triggers a load of out of touch. What it was a load of out of touch. I hate. Well, are we allowed to say boomers?
Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah,
But you know what I mean. Like guys from that generation that had nothing, and then anything computer or techie, they must have been like, it's the devil.
yeah. They just didn't. They had no idea what they were doing. I watched an old BBC documentary once where they were trying to track down a paedophile ring in Amsterdam, right? And
Who the Secret Service?
No, it was our MI5 or the English
MI6,
version,
whatever,
right?
yeah.
And it was really funny because the documentary maker, he goes to like the chief of police in Scotland Yard at the time, and he's like, so did you know these paedophiles are using BBS boards to trade illegal pornography? And then this police guy's like, yes, we're aware of it, but we can't gain access to the boards. And he's like, well, I gained access to it and have all the passwords. Would you like that information? The police chief's like, oh yes, we would very much like that information. And it's like, at the time, people just were terrible at investigating computer crimes.
Because I had no idea about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Try the password 123.
I've seen this movie called Tron.
I know how it works.
All these hackers are riding around on motorbikes in the computers.
We must shout at the system, and they would come out.
Get out of there, you bloody criminal!
Get off that motorbike!
I know you're in there.
Box, you little bastard.
That's the 90s. That's what it was like, man.
90s, mate. So there was just like CPUs in jail cells, and like, they'll come out soon enough.
You're not getting out there. Like they're putting little bowls of porridge underneath the bars. For the
Slide it to a CPU.
But the funny thing about the damages that were awarded to Steve Jackson, right, was that they obviously the Secret Service didn't pay out any damages.
No.
They just didn't because they're never going to admit fault.
No, of course not.
So what about the actual book, though? Well, of course, old Steve milked the controversy all he could. The cover even says the book that was seized by the US Secret Service. See page 5.
No.
In this page, Jackson talks about visiting the Secret Service's offices in Austin with his attorney and says this: they seem to make no distinction between fictional, futuristic credit card theft using equipment that doesn't exist and a modern, real-life credit card fraud. A repeated comment by agents was, "This is real." Now, I'll freely admit that this is the most realistic cyberpunk game ever released, but it won't make you into a console cowboy in one easy session.
No. Yeah, it's true. It's like, how did you manage to rob the stock exchange? Oh, I read Steve Jackson's GURPS.
I rolled a dice on GURPS and then it just happened.
The money
man.
was
I
in
don't
my
even know.
account. It was really weird.
Despite this, the fact the game's played with pen and paper.
It's real.
Yeah, and Steve Jackson goes on to say, to some law enforcement officers, anybody with any computer knowledge at all is suspect, and thus maybe the cyberpunk future is closer and darker than we think.
We're still waiting for it.
Yeah. Well, I think that was that's the beginning.
Yeah.
It's people like this guy was a hacker, and all he really did was Blankenship was investigating computer systems and things like this. That's about it. But people saw him as it's just dangerous because they didn't know what it was.
didn't get
it's
it.
almost like
It's a satanic panic.
if an alien came to Earth now and was completely peaceful, you know, the FBI and the Secret Service would beat the fuck out of it
Shoot
because
it.
they don't
Yeah.
understand. They shoot it. They put it in a cell, give it porridge.
Exactly.
Anyway, after all of this crap, the book that as in the cyberpunk book, It's basically a well-informed toolkit for a cyberpunk game using the GURPS system. I'm not going to go into detail because it's actually not that interesting. It's pretty basic, like, cyberpunk stuff.
Is it the one you've showed me when it's like a catalogue?
It kind of is. It's basically... It's a toolkit. It tells you how to run the setting, different types of cyberpunk settings. It's got It's basically everything you'd expect from a cyberpunk toolkit. You know, it's fine, but it's just not that interesting.
Yeah.
It contains info on well-designed hacking called net running, cyberware, basically anything, right, that you would expect. And it's informed by a guy who lived a primitive version of the netrunner lifestyle, who also had a keen interest in science fiction. It's not a manual for anything other than playing a sci-fi subgenre. Before we close the story out, you may be interested to know this isn't even the first time this type of raid has happened.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
TSR, now Wizards of the Coast, were also raided for their game called Top Secret.
It's real.
Shit, this says
There's top secrets in there.
Here's the funny thing, right? It was an espionage game. In January 1980, the authorities received a tip-off about a plot against an American businessman in Beirut. This man's name was William Weatherby, an NPC from the Top Secret role-playing game.
That's kids having a lark, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it's included in the Top Secret book. We've got the box set, actually. We'll probably review it at some point. But, of course, the FBI soon found out that William Weatherby was no more real than, ghosts.
Fucking Big Bird.
Yeah. But, so they left TSR alone. But it just shows how thick the authorities can be. I mean, that was a pretty quick little main subject there. But the thing about
It's like it.
I think it's kind of funny, like, just how unbelievably stupid they are.
Worrying, though.
So that original finished draft of the Cyberpunk game is just lost to time. I don't think they actually ever got it back.
Gave it back?
No, the current one, they had to piece it together from like other
older drafts.
Right.
Yeah, so there's been some really good work in there that they couldn't get back.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's a book worth checking out simply because all the snippets I gave in there are very much just a small snippet of the funniest parts of what Steve Jackson said, but it's got a big, nice little bit about it, about the whole debacle, and it's very, very funny, the whole thing. In retrospect, at the time, I'm sure it was fucking annoying.
Oh my god, I bet, yeah. They survived. Old Steve Jackson is still going.
Yeah, and Blankenship is still going. I don't think he ever went to jail or anything like this, but I'm fairly certain, because he was arrested before for hacking crimes, but it's difficult to find details of his life. But the whole Hacker Manifesto, that essay he wrote, it's less than a page, so it can barely be considered an essay, but it's really an interesting read.
Yeah.
And he talks about how he was bullied in school, he never felt like he belonged, and then suddenly he realised he had a talent for hacking, and it was like this whole world of digital wonder got opened up to him.
Yeah.
What I found interesting about this story was that I literally just thought, Steve Jackson was sitting there writing a game one day, and then suddenly, bam, people come through his door.
With guns.
Like the cyberpunk thing. I mean, that's what the TSR thing was.
Yeah,
that was really short.
That's funny.
But the thing about it is that it kept taking twists and turns I didn't expect. I was just like... It was like the most famous hacker in the world, a group called the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's wicked. I love the fact that he lost his job for, I don't know, maybe hacking. And so he sent Steve a letter saying how much he needs this and got a fucking job.
Yeah, I wish I was an expert on something. I'd send Steve Jackson a letter.
I might send Steve Jacko a letter as well. Just be
make a setting about being an electrician.
Should we try it?
Well, you should. You're the electrician.
That's true. So what can I say? I could be like, I'll give you more voltage in your house. More power means more destruction.
Be like, advantage has the right tools for the job. Disadvantage does not.
Steve-O. What a guy.
Yeah, so, shout out to Blankenship there. Well done. That was an
and what's the other guy? Gubbins.
Gobbo. I don't know. Goggins. That was it. Goggins, part of the Phoenix Project. Yeah, so that's GURPS Cyberpunk. I'll check. Yeah, as I say, check out the book and have a little read into the Hacker Manifesto. It's an interesting little read.
Love it.
See you later.
Laters.
Oh no, we got another segment coming up. Shut up. Insane in the membrane. Brain in the oven. Insane in the membrane. Brain in the oven. Welcome to Brain in the Oven. So back when I used to work at better not say who it was, but I worked at a company. We used to do this game where we translate song lyrics and then retranslate them back into English, and of course Google Translate goofs it all up, and Insane in the Membrane became Brain in the Oven.
Yeah.
And what I've done here is I've translated the backs of role-playing games, and Nick has to guess which ones they are. And I just want to say, I put this through the translate bin, at least 20 or 30 times. They're really goofed up.
Wow, okay.
So let's go for the first one. Through the dark blue skies, above the throne with weapons and warriors, high buffalo, hot lounges, and the defeated aces and games. A fun game about the far west, the everyday, the story of potential west, aces and heights. In his words, actions and history.
That's aces and eights.
Yeah. Okay, I thought I'd start out with an easy one.
Good.
Next one. Enter the fascinating world of the Newton Fritz River, home to the famous Lankama and the famous heroes of Fafad and Grey Mouse. Get ready to fight the members of the Foggy Artificial Intelligence Party. Exchange blood for the plats of Dark Joy, and offer 7 points to see the wisdom of Ninja Bull and Ares Shelver. Check it out. This is possible with Dan Lankama.
And offer 7 points.
It sounds quite good.
Is this right? Actually, I'd be interested. That's Lankmar.
Okay, I didn't.
Lankama.
It changed Lankmar to Lankama, and I don't know why, but yeah, I didn't think it would be that easy. The funny thing is, what this reminds me of, I saw an experiment once where they had a computer generate poetry, and then people write poetry, and had people sort of see if they could tell which was which, and people couldn't tell the difference. So this, I should put this like into poetry format and just release it, and see if people like it. All right, this one's a real hard one, so you might have to have a little brain think on this one. The amount of money is a multimedia system that describes all of the financial plan. Think you heard this exchange is to Newman era? Astronauts, GM and GM DeBental, a smart handmade by GM.
Fucking no.
I don't know what DeBental is.
DeBental, what the hell? The amount of money in this multimedia system that describes
all of the financial plan.
I have no idea what this one is. Astronaut. Space, money.
I don't know.
I'm stuck. I'm past.
Alright, have a wild stab in the dark.
Alright, wild stab. The amount of money. That's good.
You're listening to the 3C RPG podcast.
Astronaut. It is a sci-fi game. It's Traveller.
No, you're wrong. That was Cypher System.
Was it really?
Yeah, so it's changed the word cipher to the amount of money. I have no idea. It's a multimedia system.
Of course it is.
So it changed Numenera, because it was originally Numenera to the Numon era. How the fuck does it do this?
Astronaut.
It changed a made-up word. I don't get how it does it, but there you go.
Who knows?
Ask Google Translate for
Very
you.
good.
So that was brain in the oven. It's just that was a weird one, man.
I love it.
Next up, we're going to get into some bloody letters.
In the future, you will be able to send a letter or parcel from anywhere on the planet. This, sir, is the Electro Letter.
So, Electro Letters. This month, this episode, we asked you for your biggest rip-offs and the best buys you've ever got in the RPG hobby.
Yeah.
And people came out in droves for this one. This is why we kept the rest of the episode a little bit shorter, because this is going to be slightly longer. Luis Pineda, he says, custom dice seem to be the biggest rip-off. Whether it's a game's specific dice or special coloured dice, I'm paying the cost of a good bottle of rum for a dice set. Just one set. No. What do you think of that? We'll get to the rest of his message. But, that's a big turn-off for me when I see a game that has a proprietary dice system.
Oh, mate. We've already spoke about it before with bloody Tales.
Tales from the Loop is the most heinous example, because they're just themed dice.
Yep.
And they cost more than £1 for a D6, right?
Q Workshop are pretty bad.
You reckon?
Yeah, because they do like Cthulhu dice, and they're not.
Oh,
Cthulhu
I hate
dice.
those.
You know what they look like?
Yeah,
they're
those
just
are horrible.
slightly artistically done like a Cthulhu style, and they'd be £15.
Well, and like also the Vampire the Masquerade, right? The Modiphius are terrible for this, because they always create proprietary dice systems. Wasteland Warfare has its own dice system.
Yeah.
Fucking Gen Lab has its own dice system. You know that you need to buy the dice for, and they got the rights to not Magic the Gathering, Vampire the Masquerade.
Yes.
And what do? They made its own dice system.
Of course.
Not to mention they split the books into 3 now, right? So it costs £110 just for the books, when I got the old one, which is still playable, for £20.
And your D12s were good as gold.
Yes, exactly. D10s.
D10, sorry.
Yeah. And now they've got their own little dice system. So you need, not only have you spent £120 110 quid on the
Think
books.
you're ready to play? No.
No way. And you need those dice. Yeah, so it's a bit of a joke, really. And
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. I hate.
I do.
I hate. In GenLab Alpha, at least what you could... Because what I did is I bought a bunch of the... You need coloured dice.
That's
they
right.
sell a pre-made set if you can't be bothered to make your own. But I just got a bunch of the right coloured dice and then
right,
just marked them with a Sharpie.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, he continues, Lewis Pineda, and he says, beat value, I think he means best value.
Yeah.
Beat value, Savage Worlds books. My oldest daughter wanted to play with her friends, so she wanted her own books. I bought the core book, horror, fantasy, sci-fi, superpowers companion, all of them for under $60. Ooh. You can't even get two D&D books for that much.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
No.
Yeah, Savage Worlds is great value for money. Now it's 30 quid for the core book, which is infinitely usable. But Deluxe, when that was out, it was a tenner for the book.
Tenner.
That was the best.
A tenner. I mean, do you know what? It was great that it... do you know what I think they should do? They should... Like, obviously, I happily pay £30 for the new book. I think it's very well put together. It's lovely, hardback. But do you imagine if they did like a softback, like the old version, but a cheaper one?
Yeah, I think they should do that after a time. When the sales have like died down for the new edition, just release a softback pocket
Smaller
edition.
one, pocket edition,
and then
exactly
just
that.
and release it for a nice budget price.
15 quid, and then that way you're still getting into that market.
Because one of the best things about Savage Worlds is I'd often buy copies of Deluxe and give it to my mates if I thought that they would get into the game.
And now everybody in our group has got a copy of the rules, I'm sure they have.
And that is a rare thing.
Yeah.
You know, often players don't buy the books. And also, now whenever we play Savage Worlds, everyone comes up with a book.
Battered now.
Because it was so affordable.
Yeah.
I've got 3 and they're all battered.
Hey.
Timothy Peer, he says, biggest rip-off was the latest Cyberpunk editions as they literally use photos of Barbies for art. Have you ever seen those?
I think you've shown me before.
Yeah, so Cyberpunk 2030 or whatever it was. So it started out with 2020, but it was like the 3rd edition onwards. What he did is like the artist, who's like a photographer or whatever, got Barbies, right? Then shaved, Mohicans, made little Cyberpunk arms.
Eyes and arms,
and gave them like little swords and things, and that was the artwork. And it's
wow.
I get the punk aesthetic that you've gone sort of for an outsider art type kind of style, but it looked really cheap and tacky.
There's a certain kind of... I mean, when I think cyberpunk, I think black and white art. You know the style I'm talking about.
Yeah, like line art type. Yeah,
precisely. And I don't know, anything other than that, I don't know, maybe it don't feel right.
The vampire LARP rules are pretty funny for that, because it's people in costumes with like those really shitty plastic vampire teeth, like wearing like a leather jacket, and they're like trying to look cool, but it looks so lame.
Bad, yeah.
Never have photos. I think that's one of the things.
You're right. Yeah.
He continues and he says, best value, Dungeon Crawl Classics RPG core book for $40 for a hardcover.
Yeah.
That is all you need, compared to 5e, where each book costs more singularly than one DCC book.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I mean, the DCC is... We've talked about it enough, but here it's £25 for a softcover.
Yep.
And it's got everything in there. 500-page book.
It's massive.
I think it shows that some companies are taking the piss.
Greedy bastards. They know that they've got... I bet they've been rubbing their hands together since there's been an RPG revival as well. You shameless bastards.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like since D&D's got really popular and like cool and mainstream.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we can charge 100 quid for 3 books that equate to one DCC book, you know?
We know you mugs to buy them.
And I did.
And we did. Yeah, but I hate it.
In my defence, I used birthday money to get it.
Do you know what? It's worth it, as in the game.
It's a good game, but yeah, they could
but
easily...
they know exactly what they're doing.
They could charge... I mean, I don't know, but they could probably charge the same amount for DCC, you know, for the 3 books, if they combine it into one big tome or something.
Yeah.
But they don't.
No.
Where's the dagger? It's right here. It's right here. Give me the dagger. Thank you.
Matthew Jones, he says, any company that charges the same amount for the PDF as they do for the physical book, that really annoys me.
Oh, yeah.
Mate, the worst fucking one for that was, do you remember Barrow Maze, that Mega Dungeon adventure, right? The book is 50 quid, right, because he claims... and I'm sorry if I'm sounding ungrateful here, but he claims that because it's got like 2,000 rooms, right, that it's worth that amount of money, which is ridiculous.
He monetarised the rooms.
Yeah, for an adventure, he's like
50p a room,
like 50p a room.
50p a room, mate.
And it's like, so he's done that, but then the PDF was 45.
Fuck right off.
And it's like, okay, it's a very well written adventure, but the thing is that it was smaller than a setting book, probably took less work aside from the mapping, which I don't even know, but point is that, and he's charging 50 quid.
Naughty.
If I didn't want to run it so much, I wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah,
but yeah.
It's naughty. It should be, and Leisure Games does this, which is fantastic for the majority of their products. Is if you buy a physical copy, you get the PDF for free.
Yeah, I think that should be standard.
The physical version of it.
What it was, I can't remember. It might have been a Goodman Games product, but it had in the cover like a QR code that gave you a free
PDF.
copy of the PDF. Because I think what often happens, I buy physical books, right?
Yeah.
From say a shop or from Amazon, and then I'll contact the publisher and be like, I need the PDF because I just want to print certain pages.
Yeah, or you want to do the snipping tool to put it in your notes.
Exactly, right? And then they'll be like, no, you have to buy it again.
Arseholes.
But somebody says something about this later, actually. But yeah, and Matthew Jones also says, always worth the money, Savage Worlds core book.
Yes, absolutely.
Another one.
Can't argue with that.
He's got a general question, but we'll get to that later. Uncle J Raz, he says, so Invisible Sun from Monty Cook Games is $250. Everyone that I've encountered that plays it loves it.
Okay.
I will say this, have you ever noticed like there's that sort of buyer's remorse, or it's like the opposite of buyer's remorse, where somebody will buy something and you always see it with the launch of a new console, right? And people are playing the really shite launch games. They'll be like, no, it's wicked, mate. Oh, it's really good.
And it's through gritted teeth. It's the best.
Yeah, and a few months down the line, they'll be like, fucking hell, what was I thinking?
Hated it, yeah.
I think there's probably a lot of that with that Invisible Sun.
We must enjoy this game because it's so
I don't think any RPG can be $250 good.
No.
You know what I mean? Because the thing is, you may have, over the years, I've spent more than $250 on RPG books, and probably for the same system a lot of the time, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's all supplementary material for a system. The system itself costs $250.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Right? And you get a lot of shit with it. But one of the things that pissed me off about it was it has 800 cards. That's too many to deal with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Say, for example, Wise Guys has got a couple of decks with it, but 800, having to deal with 800 cards.
Hold on, wait a minute, guys. I just got to find this card. Wait a minute.
It's too many.
It's too much.
That's too many to have on a table.
Yeah.
Uncle Jay continues, and he says, I'm going to say Modifius is bad about charging $25 for special sets of dice, like their Star Trek ones. $25 for 5 dice. Yeah, that's a rip-off.
Yeah, Modifius, they're naughty.
We're noticing some patterns.
Yeah, we are.
Modifius do make some good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Not denying that.
I'm getting kind of annoyed with the stuff they're releasing. Like, it's a lot of licensed stuff.
It's
soulless
weaker.
kind of
It's
stuff.
weaker than their old stuff.
Yeah, like all of the Mutant series is so good.
Original stuff. But then that's Free League, isn't it?
It's technically Free League.
But Modifius is just a publisher.
They're a publisher, so I guess they're just a shitty publisher. They're the EA of the...
Exactly, that's it, yeah.
Terry Hansen says, biggest rip-off, paying for the rules modules on virtual tabletops. Preach, brother.
Yeah.
Especially when they cost as much as the printed
fucking rulebook, yeah.
Yeah, especially when the big D20 games use the SRD rule set published online.
Yeah, I had to buy the... what did I have to buy? I bought the Call of Cthulhu for Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds, I believe, and it cost a lot of money. Luckily I got them in the sale, but it's still like 25 quid.
That is a piss take.
Yeah, and it's just to be able to play the bloody game.
Yeah, fucking somebody mentions later the D&D Beyond. You know that one, that really cringe theme tune.
Oh my god, yeah.
I think somebody mentions that later, so we get into that, but that's going to surprise you.
Okay.
But Terry Hansen, he also says best deal, The Trove.
Say no more.
I don't think we're allowed.
Let's not elaborate on that.
That's a naughty. I tell you what though, if you know what I was saying earlier about when you own a game and you just want the PDF, you've already got the bloody book. You've given the company money and you want the PDF.
Exactly.
If you wanted to use The Trove for that purpose, which is what I don't do and would never do.
Never ever.
But in a fictional way.
In a fictional world, you could do that.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Right.
We love the Trove.
Yorkus Rex, biggest rip-off. Big name companies using piss poor printers. I just paid $60 for this book. It better not start falling apart after a year of casual use. I'm looking at you, fucking. What's the
Shadowrun?
Artalsorian, the people that make Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Be careful when that new one comes out because they make fucking shitty quality books.
Same as Shadowrun. Don't you remember Catalyst?
Shadowrun, yes.
Fucking spine broke and we hadn't even used the book.
Yeah, exactly. It'd been sat on my shelf for a bit and the pages fell out the spine.
It was
Terrible.
And that was expensive as well.
I do agree as well. Like, there are some books that I see on DriveThruRPG where it's like you can get the standard printing, right, or the deluxe printing, and a standard is so blurry and shit. It's really bad. It's like, that's not standard.
Shouldn't be an option. It's
it should-
below par. You can either
Yeah, it
have the
should be
below par
edition
printing
or the normal edition.
version. Yeah.
Deluxe, like, to have the pages and the art be readable and nice, shouldn't be deluxe.
That shouldn't be a deluxe feature.
Exactly.
That's naughty.
He says, Yorkus Rex says, biggest value, publishers that hook you up free PDFs of their print material,
Yes.
hell yeah. Best of both worlds. Now I can carry my entire gaming library on a tablet, saving both my back and those poorly printed hardcovers from wear and
Yeah,
tear.
absolutely, Yorkus.
Sid Andrews says, I think bigger RPG publishing companies kind of rip us off with their book prices.
Yep.
I know that printing books costs money and that staff gets paid and all of that, but sometimes it seems like they put out books just to give you something to buy. It isn't necessary for their game. Wizards of the Coast was notorious for publishing their Wizards of the Coast was notorious for their publishing in the 3rd edition era. They had at least one book released every month, usually 2, and that went on for a few years. At least $30 each. That adds up. I know you don't have to buy them all, but I don't think they needed to have that many books.
Yeah, but what about the poor collectionists?
Exactly.
You know, because I'm like that. Oh, what is it? I've got one missing from my set now.
I
have to
hate
buy
that.
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
poor
the same
people.
with Lankmar for DCC. Like, I was pretty happy with my Savage Worlds Lankmar
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But then I was like, but I own all the other box sets, so...
Oh, I gotta get it.
Yeah, and he carries on saying, and didn't Paizo actually sell a deluxe version of their playtest rules for Pathfinder 2? I might have bought those. I thought I don't know what I thought. I was so excited.
No, I know
I
what
was
you
I was
mean.
caught up in the mania.
In the
Oh, yeah,
hypermania.
Look at this. Look how pristine it is. It's never been opened.
Oh, it's
Pathfinder,
a proper book, though.
and that you could use the
Oh, it's
rules.
playtest. So, is this not finished then?
No.
Oh.
All the artwork is like sketches, but it is a pretty well
Do you know
thought
what?
out
It's
book.
not bad, though.
But it was a chance for people to play the game and play test it.
Yeah.
But I don't think they should have charged for it. It should have been PDF only.
It should have been PDF only, or they should have been like, do you want to playtest it to let us know if it's any good or not? Why don't you try this PDF for us?
Yeah, selling them as a book. I mean,
Cheeky bastards.
yeah, that's a bit dodgy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's. I completely agree. The playtest selling was a bit of a joke. Because usually they send out, PDFs. I think D&D did that.
Well, they didn't.
Yeah.
Because they did. What do they call it? A test drive. Savage Worlds did, didn't they, with the new rules? And it was just a free PDF on it for the test
Yeah, and
drive
it
or
had
whatever.
like demos of the new
Yeah,
shit, and people
exactly.
could give feedback. That makes sense. Like with the Pathfinder playtest, what if they just gave some pre-gens an adventure where you could try out the new magic,
There you
the new
go.
classes?
Do you reckon there was a
things like
board meeting and someone mentioned that and it was like, that's a very good idea. And the head was like, oh, we could make another book.
this? Yeah.
We could make another book.
Oh, almost. They probably had like sunk loads of money into the development of the game,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
need
yeah.
to reap it back. So they
Yeah.
were like, we could sell the playtest to idiots like Harrison.
Yeah, he will buy it and then we'll release the book again and make more money.
I didn't buy a second edition in the end, so fuck you.
Do you know what? You should go to frickin' Paizo and be like, yo, I want you to change my playtest that I've playtested for the proper one now because I've paid my money.
Yeah. I paid £25 for rules, and I got a demo.
Yeah.
Daniel Owen, he says, biggest rip-off. Got to go with Novelty Dice.
Yeah.
Yep, he's absolutely right. They are really only good for one game, cough, Genesis, cough, and then they might as well go in the bin.
They're in trouble, aren't they, Genesis?
What did they do?
No, I think, isn't this whole thing's Fantasy Flight Games aren't making games anymore?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I need to look into it. I've only seen it on socials, so I don't really know.
I feel sorry for all the other guys on the Nerds International Network who
Yeah,
got right into that.
I think
Fucking
it's-
Tony and Chris are making a whole podcast
I
about
know,
it.
bless them. I don't know if that Genesis might be alright, but as far as I'm aware, a TSR own Genesis, right?
No, it
No,
is
Fantasy Flight Games.
Fantasy
sorry.
Flight Games.
Yeah, they're not making products anymore. Yeah, I'm sure. I read
that does make me laugh because
I'm sure
they
I
were
read
saying
that.
like that Jamie, who's the boss of this network, was saying like this is the only role-playing game you ever need.
I need to double check that. I could be absolutely wrong, but I'm sure
If
there's
it
something
is,
going on there.
that is very funny.
Yeah.
And Daniel Owen, he says the best investment, £5 for a gay
For a gay day out.
for a gay day out with the 3 T's. No, £5 for a day of gaming at SavageCon.
Aw.
Can't say fairer than that, yeah?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, I can stop trying to promote it now. No, you can't.
No, carry on.
Carry
mate.
on, mate. We
Continue,
need it.
mate. We need you.
SavageCon, Red Hill, 18th of April. It's
gonna be bad.
Come along. It's going to be bad.
In the good way.
In the 90s way.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting through these.
We're flying.
We got some general questions in later, but we'll get to those. David Porter, he says first place D&D Beyond. This is the one I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Are you too lazy easier to look something up and write it down? Would you be willing to pay full price again just because you can't be bothered to find the index in your player's handbook? Then D&D Beyond is for you. Way to drive your market straight to pirated PDFs, wizards.
I like this guy.
Yeah. So D&D Beyond is a D&D app. You can use it for tracking your character like many other free apps, or you can use it for looking shit up in the book like many other free apps, right? Because I've got a fucking...
I'll say you use that all the time.
I've got a D&D SRD, System Reference Document app, and I just look up whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And it doesn't... Yeah, I got D&D Beyond when I got the new D&D.
Yeah.
And went onto my mobile and was like, oh, sweet, I get a free copy of the... And then I read it, and I was like, no, I get a free half-price digital copy on an app? I was just like, fuck, man, that is awful.
Oh.
That's tragic.
Wizards.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Wizards, more like fucking rogues,
Gizzards.
am I right?
Yeah.
More like thieves of the coast.
Nice. Pirates of the Shore.
David Porter, Pirates of the Shore. That's really good. That's going to be the new nickname.
Yeah.
Second place, David Porter says, fancy initiative trackers, cards, magnetic boards, little tents that go above your DM screen. I've fallen for this myself a few times until I finally realised that half a sheet of notebook paper is the right tool for this job. You have to mark hit points on something anyway. Why take up more real estate?
Yeah, true.
I've seen these, man. Like, there's these boards you can get. In Genesis. That's a good one, actually. You need them for Genesis, right? Yeah. Kind of. Because the way it works in Genesis, you roll, and then... it's fucking weird. Like, basically, all the initiatives, you roll, and if you're a player, you go in the player initiative, and then those will get...
So it's a bit convoluted then.
Yeah, they get bunched up. Then the monster initiatives get bunched up, and blah blah blah. And you pick the initiative, so you need little cards for it.
Right. Okay.
But in D&D, I've seen people sell like little magnetic things that you can write on, and then you put them in order on a little whiteboard, and you refer to that to go for initiative. How long does it take just to write it down?
Well,
it takes the same amount of time. Well, it takes more time.
Job. It's like, right, you're up next.
And it takes more time to write out these little magnets. Every time you go into a combat, you're like, Goblin 1, Goblin 2. It's easy enough. Just make the small minions have a turn together, and the big ones have their own turn.
Easy.
And write it down. It takes no time.
Do you know what? It's making a thing that's not needed. It's filling a space that's not a space.
Exactly. It's like shitty inventions.
Yeah.
All I ever do as well is, like I said, I group some monsters together.
Of course you do, yeah.
And in addition to that, I will often just write the first letter of somebody's name.
Yep.
So James is J, James T is JT.
Exactly, all in a little line.
And that's it. It takes like 10 seconds. I don't get why people need this.
They don't.
On a lighter note, though, it's good that Savage Worlds uses a deck of cards for our initiative, and it's quite quick.
And it's in front of everybody, so you can have a quick look.
If you don't like it, just fucking do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Best value that isn't the DCC core book.
Ooh.
The yearly one-page dungeon compendium. 1 page worth of dungeon is really all most adults can fit into their schedules. Anyway, and this year you get 161 of those one-page dungeons for $3.
Wow, that's really good.
That is fucking brilliant.
1 page dungeon compendium. The yearly 1 day dungeon compendium. Oh, that's a good one.
We got one last one on this subject.
Come back again, David Porter.
Yeah. No, thank you for that email.
Yeah.
Victor Ulansky, he says, biggest ripoff, D&D character folios. Best investment, Zweihander core rulebook. Core rulebook, I can't fucking speak.
And BCC core rulebook.
Exactly.
What is Zweihander?
It's a retro
German?
clone of Warhammer 1st Edition. So in the same way OSR things are, the old D&D rules, it's just that, basically.
Very cool.
It looks pretty cool.
All right, yeah.
We got some general questions.
Yes.
So David Porter, he says, last episode during the What Dat section, I had the urge to replay The Secret of Monkey Island. Know anything about that, guys? Are you Monkey Island fans, or did you pick that song via dumb luck?
Oh, well, the game. I love Monkey Island.
Yeah, so the I did one of the sounds in the What Dat section was a bard playing some music.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was it was a Monkey Island theme cover. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I used to play that game years ago. The old point and click investigating
classic
game.
Yeah, the new one's really good as well because they remade it, the original Secret of Monkey Island, and they remade it and did all voice acting and shit.
Nice.
It's great.
Yeah, it's
and you can press a single button to switch between the old graphics and the new, which is fucking
nice.
cool.
Got another general one from Dan Irwin. It says, not sure if I've missed the boat on this episode, but general questions / advice. What's some good software for audio recording / editing? Want to make some recordings for gameplay, but haven't tried anything like that before, so advice is welcome. So let's go with the free one first.
Free
Audacity, isn't it?
Audacity.
That's the one.
That's the one a lot of people use, and there's a lot of tutorials out there because it's cheap. I use Adobe Audition, but that's basically because what I'm used to, and I think it's really intuitive.
Yeah.
But you do have to pay for it, which I obviously did.
Yeah,
but there
me
are
too.
certain dodgy sites where if you didn't want to pay for it,
There might be a way of doing it.
I don't know. I would never do
that. It's all hacking, mate. I don't know.
What's his name?
Fleckenflom.
He would do
and
it.
Goglin.
And Goglin, but not me, man. I'm no Goglin. All right.
But yeah, free. Yeah, go start with Audacity because it's absolutely free. And
and
if
it's
you get a hang of it,
perfectly
maybe look
good.
at Audition.
The good thing is that you can plug different modules into Audacity anyway.
Yeah.
If there's an effect you need that it doesn't have, just look for the I've completely forgotten what it's fucking called now, but yeah, just look for the module and do that.
And put it in, yeah.
I wish I could remember what it's called. Jesus Christ.
WAV.
VSTs, that's it.
VSTs.
Fuck me.
Cool. Get in touch if you need some more help.
So that's for recording and editing. And if you're recording gameplay, we once recorded our first ever trial of an actual play was we recorded a session of Darkhold Goblin Adventures, and we just plopped an iPhone in the middle of the table. And that can actually do really well. There's a podcast setting on new iPhones. So it records 360.
That's right.
But the only thing is that we just recorded our normal game, and obviously you could hear people snacking in the background.
Oh, it was a nightmare.
It was horrible. So
if you're doing online, what's the screen recorder? OCB?
Voice meter.
So if you're doing online games, if you get Voice Meter, that allows you to store your channels and your mics and all that,
and you can record your desktop. But then there's
OCB that records the desktop.
Is it OCB? Is that what it's called?
Sure, it's called OCB, it's 3 letters anyway. But it's free. Just go screen record, and it can capture your whole desktop and put your little picture.
What's that one where you always see on YouTube videos where they've got the trial version? It's like Handycam. Bandicam, that's it. Bandicam. Yeah. We had some other general ones.
Yeah, we got more generals.
It's just they were.
Here's one. Did you do Yonex? No. Yeah. So, general question from Yorkus Rex.
Great name.
Great name. We've all seen them. The player that refuses to engage in any meaningful way other than stabbing everything that moves and burning everything that doesn't. Talkative NPC? Stab. Interesting non-treasure item? Burn. Farmer's cow wanders too close? Stab. Farmer's house just being there? Burn. You see a pattern here. They bitch and moan about everything being against them, but they make that world of persecution manifest by striking first, always. How can we help them evolve? Can it ever be done?
I've struggled with this one myself because we've got a player at the table that always causes chaos.
I'm a bit of a head shaker.
Yeah.
I kind of sometimes I'll be like, what? Why?
Well, the guy at our table, he's not knowingly a dick, and people like to play with him. Right? He's Ryan. He doesn't listen to this.
Ryan's a great. Yeah, he's absolutely great. But I think when he's either panics or he's kind of has to make a snap decision, sometimes it's just destruction.
Yeah, so he's usually a pretty nice guy in games, but then as soon as he panics, he's like, right, burn it.
Or if he's playing a bad person,
he's awful,
proper bad. Yeah,
and I've been thinking about ways to deal with this, and in our current game, I think I came up with a pretty decent solution. Is that I said that the story that you guys are involved in with the zoo and the town is fundamentally about the town.
Yeah.
So if you're banished for any reason or put in jail from the town, then your character is effectively out of the game.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So either that or, barring that, some sort of humanity meter.
Ooh, think Fallout.
Yeah,
Karma.
Karma or vampire. And what you could say is, once you get to a certain negative karma, like you could maintain being a pretty negative, roguish type, right?
And still just keep leveling out.
But once you get to a certain point, your character becomes an NPC and they're out of the game.
Beyond redemption.
Yeah, they're a bad guy in the campaign now.
Fair play. Yeah, that's a cool way to do it.
And that way,
very nice.
Once you've threatened somebody with loss of control of their character.
Oh, mate.
Yeah. And also, the thing is, with the town thing as well, if they've got stakes in the world that they don't want to lose, they've spent their money on shit. When they get back to town, just say, like, fuck you, what do you want to do? Like, you've got all that money, you could start a business, this, that, and the other. Once they've got a business and they realise that they're leaving a big money-making venture
investment
behind.
Yeah. So if they're invested in the town, it changes everything. Or also, make sure that the one that comes to mind is if they want to be a dick all the time, make sure there's ramifications. So let them get on with it, but then...
Well, I think this guy's saying that he did give ramifications, but the guy feels like people are against him.
I see,
he feels like, I should be able to do whatever I want with no consequences.
We'll stop playing role-playing games then.
Yeah, well, exactly. we're quite lucky because the guy at our table that is kind of that guy sometimes, he's the other players and characters bring his character around.
Yeah.
And so there was a point during the courtroom episode 1 where he was being sued, his character, and then he goes, "All right, guys, I'll be back in a minute. I've got to wrap some things up." And we knew what he was going to do. He was going to go and kill everyone that was against him in the court thing. And Nick's character was like, "No, wait, you better not do that. You could just end up in court again."
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's but no, Rye's a cracking player, and to be fair, when he does do a snap decision and then regrets it, he's almost in tears at the table, isn't he, sometimes?
Yeah, 100%.
So, we got one from Conrad, that's a general.
Yep.
So, do any one of you have an alien toe, weirdly bendable fingers, or other creepy body features? And how much do you use your body in role-playing, and where do you draw the line? Getting naked, tattoos, touching players, standing up at all?
Weird bodily I mean, that is a very personal question.
That is a very personal. I haven't got anything weird.
I was cursed, unfortunately, with a gigantic penis.
You beat me to it. Yeah, I've got a great arse.
No, I'm a pretty normal-looking guy, sadly.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
I've got giant eyebrows, but I blame my dad for that.
I've got a big spam, so I look like Robocop with his helmet on.
Spam, for those that don't know, means a large forehead.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad. I think James is far worse.
I think I've just got a big hang up about it, so I can't get over it.
Maybe.
What was the other one? So where do we draw the line regarding...
How much do you use your body in role-playing? Like when you're GMing or role-playing?
Ooh, probably a lot. I make sound effects. I gestate all the time.
My brother does a lot. Like when we was in the courtroom episode, he got up with a piece of paper and was slapping it with the back of his hand and walking around. He's like, "I motion that."
Or when he's like looking for inspiration, he looks up to the Lords, doesn't he?
Oh,
He looks up
yeah.
to the gods sometimes.
I don't know. You
stand up a lot.
I stand up normally when I'm GMing. I sort of alternate between the two. But I gesticulate and do actions. I think it can help bring a character to life. And if you're embodying that character, you know, it helps sort of get into it.
And it helps
use your body.
Play that character more. Yeah, definitely.
Because also, if you can give characters mannerisms without ever saying it. You can, instead of saying like, this guy always scratches the back of his head when he gets nervous. You just do it when he's speaking nervously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of that. So we do very much get into character quite deeply when we play. Nakedness, never gone naked, but we've definitely rolled our sleeves up a few times.
I know.
Sean starts that, doesn't he?
When I
Gets
first
his guns out.
Oh yeah, that's funny. when I first ran Whacked in the Wicket, I did wear a suit and had a cardigan around my neck like a posh lad. Yeah.
So, but that's it. Yeah. So yeah, we get involved. We get involved. So Terry Hansen come in with a general question as well. And he said, general question, do you think Genesis was the reason Fantasy Flight isn't making RPGs anymore? And then he's put a link there, so we need to have a little look at that.
Hang on, I'm going to have a look at the link.
Have a look at the link now.
Here we are. Yeah, I'm looking at the link. It says Fantasy Flight Games discontinuing RPGs? Back in January, it emerged that FFG was laying off a lot of staff, including RPG staff. Oof. It says that all currently announced projects will be produced, but in the long term, the RPG production is ending.
Oh.
Oofed. Take that, Genesis fans.
Oh, man.
So one of the podcasts on the network, Finding the Narrative, more like finding a new subject to talk about.
Oh,
yes! We got them! Yes!
But they're a fantastic podcast.
Yeah, it's a great podcast and you should listen to it.
So,
actually, or don't, because...
You know,
realistically, it's obsolete now.
Oh, bless. No, I'm sure someone will pick it up, surely.
I'm sure they'll find the next game and think it's like the next big thing. That's what they always do.
Cypher System, looks good.
So, yeah, they might get into that.
There you go. So Brent Alt from the Cyber Sprawl Classics fame.
Oh, yeah, that's him.
Has come in and said, fucking plastic miniatures, $10 for something that could be got out of a quarter machine at my local burrito joint.
Oh, yeah, so he's gone back to we've gone back to the previous subject of rip-offs. I agree, because if you look at kids' toys, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot more bang for your buck in terms of the amount of plastic, the quality they're already painted.
Movability.
Right, exactly. And then the £10 minis, sometimes I do feel a little bit of a pain in the wallet when I see them. I bought 2 Mushroom Guy minis for £10 and I was like, I thought they were big and they were tiny.
Oh, that's what I mean. It hurts because you want them so much. And don't get me wrong, they are cool and some of them have incredible detail. I mean, Reaper minis. But then Reaper minis are quite good. I mean, they're still a bit of a rip-off, but they're better priced, aren't they? Or are they still a bit of a rip-off Reapers? I can't remember.
Well, you can get a nice mini for like a £5, right? I mean,
but you haven't painted it. Where's I would pay I think a fair price is if they was to sell one mini for £5, but it was 3D printed with colour, all done, no painting required.
Believe it or not, Rogues of the Shore. They've been
no, Pirates of the Shore.
Pirates of the Shore, right? They've got some
Rogues of the Shore, yeah.
Rogues of the Shore, whatever, right? Wizards of the Coast. They've got some pretty good mini packs where you can buy like a pack of 6 that could be heroes.
Okay.
And they were about £7-8.
That's fine. See,
so things like that,
reasonable.
they're shitty paint jobs, but at least they're painted.
They're painted, yeah.
And yeah, I do agree, but I do like painted minis. That's the trouble. I really enjoy it. But even, Modifius with their first Wasteland Warfare shit, you get some good packs there, like 15 quid for 3. Actually, that's about the same as Reaper.
£5 each, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit of a rip when you think about it.
Minis are a rip-off.
I've never thought about it like that.
Sadly, they are, because they are great, and I love minis. But they
and the game is enhanced by having them.
There's a lot of rip-offs in this industry.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of people argue that these products take a lot to make, and we are aware of that. That's why we'll pay upwards of.
I mean, that's why our extortionate price of £1.50 for our product was.
Because it's
so
a PDF.
high.
We realise that a computer file inherently has a very smaller value than that of a print file.
Yeah.
But I feel as if like. I know that they cost more to produce, right? Because there's artwork, there's editing, there's the amount of testing that goes into it.
Yeah.
But so they're obviously going to cost more than a normal book. Like, for example, a comic book with the same amount of pages, right, would cost me 10 to 15 quid.
Yes.
But it's got a lot less development going into it.
Precisely. It's just an artist and a script writer.
Yeah.
Layout.
And
there's a lot more.
it's expensive, but it's not as expensive, I guess.
Right.
And I do get that, but it does wind me up. The rip-offs in industry.
Some of it, that they're just laughing their heads off in their board meetings.
I saw a thing the other day, like what pisses me off. I don't know if we should probably talk about like our rip-offs and Best Buys. But the one of the things that annoys me is the prices given to out-of-print RPGs when people put them on eBay. Right? I know it's not necessarily that much of a rip-off, but sometimes something is only worth what somebody will pay for it, right?
Yeah.
I've been looking for Aces and Eights for years, and I've only ever seen it for 100 quid, but I always see it. So to me, that probably says that they're not selling for 100 quid. But but a more fair price, I would have bought it probably for 50 quid even.
Yeah.
And
that for 50 quid, that's value for money.
I seen the other day Venger Satanis, who is another controversial figure in the RPG industry. He's a guy that made Alpha Blue, so like a really horrific sex game.
Oh right, okay, that's why I've probably not heard of it.
I bought it for this podcast to do as an item, but yeah, the game actually looked quite cool. But anyway, this guy, he said on his website, he's released this new book called Ch'alt, which is like a Cthulhu mythos type book.
Yeah.
And he said that he was chuffed because somebody bought 200 copies to keep for 10 years and then put on eBay later. I'm like, good idea, but also fuck you. It's annoying because they're ripping people off.
Yeah, they are ripping people off. It's like so on eBay, when you can watch something, right? So I've been watching this same fucking Hackmaster GM book for the past
waiting for it to go
14 months, and it still hasn't gone down below 120 quid. It's like, dude, you're not going to sell it.
No one's going to buy it.
Yeah, I should do.
You should message him, give him an offer, because
50 for it, and then you can.
50 is a good price for that book. Yeah, that annoys me. I mean, as for Best Buys, I'm gonna have to agree with the DCC rulebook. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because it's basically the best value for money. If I was going to say, if there's one rulebook you had to get, it's that one. Lamentations is also pretty fucking good because it's £15 for the core rulebook, and the PDF is free.
That's true. Yeah. And obviously before, the best was the Savage Worlds core rulebook previous edition, which was fantastic for £10, £12.
The thing is, James Raggy, his product is doing really well, and he's making a lot of money. People that work for him are getting paid more than anywhere else in the industry.
Really?
Yeah, and it's because I think the popularity is to do with the cheapness of the first book
there you go.
and the PDF.
And it gets people in.
You get to a table and you say to somebody, "Have you forgot your book?" Well, just get it on your phone then.
Yeah, precisely. And it's nice because, and now I think that in lies the key. So the pilot product, the core rulebook, whatever your first release is, if you do it at a reasonable price, surely you're going to get more people in it. And then once they're locked into it and they enjoy it, and you bring out more products, chances are they might pick them up.
Exactly.
So
exactly, because you want to get people into it.
You want to get them playing it.
Put it this way, Barrowmaze, for example, the guy that's written it, he's famous amongst OSR types. But if he'd have made that adventure affordable, he could have been famous amongst everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
And if he'd have just like got off of his high horse for a minute and thought,
greedy.
Greedy. That's
Greed.
it.
Greed. Don't be greedy. Enjoy it.
That said, though, if anyone does want to pay us £1,000 for 78 Hammer
happily
Happenings,
take it.
well,
Yeah,
we will
right.
take
We will
it
take
because
that
it's
money.
worth that amount, but we wouldn't charge that because we love you.
Yeah, we love you, and we wouldn't charge that, but we would take
£1,000,
it
right? That's
happily.
£100 a happening. That's,
Go.
that's
Mate,
funny.
that's bank.
All right, let's
And that's
do
the
an outro.
outro. Yeah.
Magic missile. I'm out of mana.
Good episode, do you think?
Yes, mate. Love
It was
Very
sort of
fun.
a mailbag episode
Yeah,
mixed
why not?
with a short main subject. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, listener. And remember, follow me on Twitter, Harrison the Huge.
Don't. You'll probably get abuse.
Well, only if you're Sean Patrick Fannin. Did you see my hashtags that I put on the post?
I did.
Hashtag nasty touch.
I did. You got to go. Do you know what? You need to start going to bed earlier. I always get these like
That's what it
11:30,
is.
12
That's
o'clock
what it is,
text
like-
messages, and it's not good for you, man.
Just before I go to
Telling
go
you,
to
you go on
bed,
a rampage.
I'm like literally on my phone and like I get a little bit bored, and I just thought
And a bit manic.
No,
Do you know what? I get a bit like that. It's weird, but my time is the morning. So when I wake up and I'm still in bed on my phone, that'll be the time when I'll start like doing a few like free tea posts or whatever. I don't know. I get a bit weird. It's like it's almost like a weird time.
What it was that you remember before I made that image of Sean Patrick Fannin in the ice cream truck with 3 hugs written on the side, and I sent it to him on Facebook. But I said to him, I was like, I think you should be aware somebody's made this image, and of course it was me. And then I posted it on his Google Plus, and he blocked me. And as soon as because I just got Twitter and I'm trying to get into it because
Trying to
I realise
understand
it's
it.
good for self promotion. I thought, oh no, he hasn't blocked me on there yet. So let's see how quickly I can get blocked.
Are you blocked yet?
No, he hasn't seen it, so that's been up there for quite a while.
Oh, there you
actually.
go. Oh, excellent.
Go and go and follow me on Twitter, and also if you want to get in contact with us, 3trpgpod@gmail.com. We're on all the social medias, and we've got a Patreon. So if you fancy donating $1 to this nonsense, then please do.
It's much appreciated.
Well, yes, exactly. Nick, you got anything you want to say to the world before we go?
World? Well, I hope you all have a nice day.
That's true.
And keep on trucking.
Keep on trucking, and remember that D20s are cool, but 20Ds, now that's a good time.
Oh yeah.
Good bike.
Laters.